Some people spend their entire lives wondering why they feel different from everyone else. Not better. Not worse. Just different. They walk into a room and somehow feel disconnected from the conversations around them. They notice patterns others miss. They question things most people accept without thinking. And perhaps the strangest part is that they often spend years believing something is wrong with them. Because when people imagine high intelligence, they imagine confidence, success, and certainty. But psychology paints a very different picture. In reality, people with extremely high IQs often struggle with experiences that seem completely unrelated to intelligence. They overthink simple decisions. They feel misunderstood. They become exhausted by small talk. They sometimes feel lonely even when surrounded by people. And most of them don't realize that these experiences are connected. The truth is that high intelligence changes far more than how you solve problems. It changes how you see the world. How you process emotions. How you connect with people. And how you experience life itself. What many people fail to understand is that intelligence is not just a gift. It is also a lens. A lens that can make reality look very different from what most people see. So if you've ever felt strangely out of place. If you've ever wondered why your mind never seems to switch off. Or if you've been told you think too much. This video might explain more than you expect. Because the psychology of people with extremely high IQ is far deeper, and far more surprising, than most people realize. And this is where things become interesting. Sign number 1, they constantly analyze everything. Most people experience a situation and move on. Highly intelligent people experience a situation and replay it 50 times. A casual conversation. A strange facial expression. A text message with a period at the end. A comment someone made 3 days ago. Their minds naturally search for hidden meanings, patterns, and possibilities. Psychology suggests that highly intelligent individuals tend to process information at a deeper level than average. The problem is that the brain doesn't always know when to stop. Imagine someone casually says, "That's interesting." Most people hear the words and continue with their day. A highly intelligent person may spend hours wondering. Did they really find it interesting? Were they being sarcastic? Were they bored? Did I say something wrong? Should I have explained it differently? Think about it. The same ability that helps someone understand complex ideas can also trap them inside endless mental loops. This is why many highly intelligent people appear calm on the outside while experiencing complete chaos internally. Their minds are constantly running simulations. Constantly questioning. Constantly analyzing. And while this ability can create incredible insights, it can also create unnecessary suffering. Because sometimes the smartest mind in the room becomes its own worst enemy. Sign number 2, they often feel misunderstood. Deep down, one of the most painful experiences for highly intelligent people is not being unable to understand others. It's feeling that others don't understand them. Many people assume intelligent individuals find social interactions easy. But psychology suggests the opposite can often be true. The more complex your inner world becomes, the harder it becomes to explain it. Imagine having thoughts that connect dozens of ideas together. You see relationships between concepts. You notice contradictions. You ask questions that most people never consider. Then you try explaining your perspective. Only to be met with confusion. Blank stares. Or complete disinterest. Over time, something begins to happen. You stop sharing. You simplify your thoughts. You keep certain ideas to yourself. Not because you want to. But because it's exhausting constantly translating your mind for other people. This is where loneliness often enters. Not physical loneliness. Psychological loneliness. The feeling of being surrounded by people while still feeling unseen. And what many people fail to understand is that this loneliness has very little to do with the number of friends someone has. It's about connection. Real connection. The feeling that someone genuinely understands how your mind works. For many highly intelligent people, that experience is surprisingly rare. Sign number 3, they question everything. Most people inherit beliefs. Highly intelligent people investigate them. This doesn't mean they reject everything. It means they struggle to accept something simply because everyone else does. From childhood, they often ask uncomfortable questions. Why do people behave this way? Why do we follow these rules? Why is this considered normal? Why do people believe things without evidence? Psychology suggests that high intelligence is often linked to intellectual curiosity. An intense desire to understand reality as accurately as possible. But this creates an interesting challenge. Questioning everything can make life complicated. Because society often rewards certainty. People like confident answers. Simple explanations. Clear conclusions. Highly intelligent people frequently live in uncertainty. The more they learn, the more they realize how much they don't know. And paradoxically, this often makes them appear less confident than people who know far less. Think about it. The person who has deeply studied a subject usually sees its complexity. The person who knows very little often sees only simplicity. This is why highly intelligent individuals may hesitate before speaking. Not because they lack knowledge, but because they understand how many possibilities exist. And that awareness changes everything. Sign number 4, they struggle with small talk but crave deep conversations. Here's a misconception many people have. They assume highly intelligent people dislike socializing. That's not necessarily true. What they often dislike is shallow interaction. The hidden reason is simple. Their minds are naturally drawn toward meaning. Patterns. Ideas. Purpose. Human nature. The mysteries of life. A conversation about the weather might feel emotionally empty. A conversation about fear, ambition, love, identity, or human behavior can feel endlessly fascinating. Most people don't realize that highly intelligent individuals often have an intense need for mental stimulation. Not because they're trying to impress anyone, but because their brains are energized by complexity. This is why they can spend hours discussing one meaningful topic and become drained after 10 minutes of surface-level conversation. And unfortunately, this can sometimes make them seem distant, reserved, or uninterested. When in reality, they're simply searching for something deeper. Something real. Something worth exploring. Because for them, conversation isn't just communication. It's discovery. Sign number 5, their intelligence can become a source of anxiety. This may be the most surprising sign of all. Many people assume intelligence protects against anxiety. Psychology suggests it can sometimes increase it. Why? Because highly intelligent minds are exceptionally good at imagining possibilities. And not all possibilities are positive. When faced with uncertainty, they don't see one outcome. They see 20, 30, 50. Every risk. Every consequence. Every potential problem. Imagine standing at the edge of a decision. Most people might think, this could work. A highly intelligent person may immediately visualize every scenario where it fails. Every mistake. Every obstacle. Every unintended consequence. The same mental ability that creates brilliant solutions can also create endless worries. This is why many highly intelligent individuals struggle with overthinking. Not because they're weak. Not because they're incapable. But because their minds are designed to explore possibilities. Even frightening ones. And unless they learn how to manage this tendency, anxiety can quietly become a constant companion. The hidden emotional cost of high intelligence. This is where things become even more interesting. Because intelligence affects far more than thoughts. It affects emotions too. Many highly intelligent people experience life with unusual intensity. They notice subtle emotional shifts. They detect inconsistencies in people's behavior. They recognize hidden motives. They sense tension before others do. As a result, they often become emotionally exhausted. Not because they're fragile, but because they're constantly processing information that other people overlook. Imagine carrying a radar that never turns off. You notice everything. Every detail. Every change. Every contradiction. At first, this sounds like an advantage. But over time, it can become overwhelming. Because awareness has a price. The more you see, the more responsibility you feel. The more complexity you notice, the harder simple answers become. And this creates a challenge many highly intelligent people face throughout life. How do you remain at peace in a world that appears increasingly complicated? Deep reflection. Think about your own life for a moment. Have you ever felt exhausted by your own thoughts? Have you ever replayed conversations long after everyone else forgot them? Have you ever felt disconnected in a room full of people? Have you ever questioned things others accepted without hesitation? If so, you may understand something important. Intelligence is not just about solving equations. It is not just about academic success. It is not just about IQ scores. True intelligence changes the way you experience reality. It changes what you notice, what you value, what you fear, and what you seek. But perhaps the most important lesson is this. Being highly intelligent does not mean you have to carry the weight of constant thinking alone. Many people spend years believing their differences are flaws. That they are too sensitive, too analytical, too curious, too complicated. Yet these very traits often reflect a mind that experiences life at a deeper level. And once you understand that, something changes. You stop fighting your nature. You stop trying to become simpler just to fit in. You begin appreciating the strengths hidden inside those differences. Because the goal isn't to think less. The goal is to understand your mind well enough that it works for you instead of against you. Conclusion. The strangest thing about people with extremely high IQ is that their greatest challenges often come from the same place as their greatest strengths. Their ability to analyze creates insight, but also overthinking. Their curiosity creates wisdom, but also uncertainty. Their awareness creates understanding, but also loneliness. And their imagination creates innovation, but also anxiety. What many people fail to understand is that intelligence is not merely the ability to know more. It's the ability to see more. And once you see more, life becomes both more beautiful and more complicated. Perhaps that's why some of the most intelligent people in the world spend years trying to understand something that appears simple from the outside. Themselves. Because understanding the world is difficult. But understanding your own mind can be even harder. And maybe that's the real journey. Not becoming smarter, but learning how to live peacefully with the mind you already have. If this description felt surprisingly accurate, you're not alone. Let us know your thoughts below. Which sign resonated with you the most? And if you enjoy psychology, human behavior, and deep self-discovery, consider subscribing for more videos like this. Because sometimes, the most fascinating mystery you'll ever explore is the one inside your own mind.